Have you ever found yourself emotionally drained by a relationship, whether with a friend or a family member or maybe even a fellow church member? If so, you are not alone. And today, we're going to explore how to set healthy emotional boundaries in a way that both honors your mental health and your faith. This is Mindful Faith Moments, and I'm your host, Jason Henry-Ruhl. Let's dive in. It's hard, right? Especially as Christians. We're often taught to give endlessly and to love unconditionally and to turn the other cheek. And while these are all beautiful and necessary teachings, they can sometimes make it difficult to understand when we need to take a step back for ourselves so we can protect our own emotional well-being. And the truth is, healthy boundaries are not only essential for your mental health, but they also help you love others well by preventing resentment and burnout in yourself. And I've been there where you feel guilty for needing to take that step back and needing that space to find that peace in your relationships. Well, how do we do this? So let's get to the heart of it. What is building emotional boundaries in relationships? What does that look like practically? Well, here's just five steps, 5 things to think through as you're looking to set those boundaries. 1, you need to recognize your own limits. Take a moment to think about what exhausts you mentally and emotionally. What conversations, what situations, what are things that you encounter every day where you just feel drained and depleted? Now, this is not about pushing people away. What it's about is knowing what you can and cannot handle emotionally. Even Jesus took time away to pray and recharge, and if he needed rest, so do we. Start by recognizing what situations or what conversations have you had in the past that you've maybe just recently had that make you feel drained. Why is that? And identify how you can protect yourself in those moments, because it's not about avoiding the moments, it's about recognizing and then being aware and then learning how to work through and set those boundaries in those moments. Number 2, we need to be able to communicate clearly, but also with kindness. One of the biggest misconceptions is that setting boundaries is somehow harsh or unloving. But boundaries they're really about clarity. When you communicate them, you're simply expressing how you can best love and engage others well. So use kind but firm language when you're setting boundaries. Something like, I need some time to recharge right now, or I can't talk about this right now. Can we talk about it later? Just be clear about what you need while showing love and respect for the other person. Also, if you say you are going to talk about it later with them, make sure you follow up and talk about it. Number 3, we can lean on scripture. Sometimes we forget that the Bible has a lot to say about boundaries. Just one example, Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your hearts, for everything you do flows from it. Guarding your heart doesn't mean shutting people out and living in a shell isolated by yourself. What it means is you are protecting your emotional and spiritual well-being. So we can look for verses like Proverbs 4:23 and reflect and meditate on them when we're starting to feel guilty for needing to set those boundaries. But guys, the reality is setting boundaries, it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. Number 4, know when to say no. It's tough, especially when people need us, but no, that 2-letter word, no, that's a full sentence. And you don't need to over-explain yourself to people when you say no. Jesus had no problem saying no when he needed rest or when something wasn't aligned with his mission. So think of your no more as an act of love, both for yourself and for others. Number 5, let's seek accountability, because let's face it, setting boundaries is one thing, sticking to them is something that's a little bit harder. Sometimes we let our boundaries slide because we don't want to maybe hurt someone's feelings, or maybe because we feel guilty for not helping out. And this is where accountability comes in. Have someone in your life who understands the journey that you're on and can remind you of the boundaries that you're setting, especially when you're tempted to compromise those boundaries. Maybe it's a mentor or a therapist or a counselor, or maybe a trusted friend who can just give you those gentle nudges, or let's be honest, sometimes we need more than that gentle nudge when we are compromising on those boundaries. But building emotional boundaries, it doesn't mean that we stop loving people. It means that we actually love them better by first taking care of ourselves. Emotional health and faith, they're not at odds with one another. They work hand in hand. And when you set boundaries, you're able to show up for other people as your best self. So I challenge you today, take a moment and think of one relationship where maybe you do need to set or strengthen a boundary. What small steps can you take this week to communicate that boundary clearly and kindly? And don't forget, at Mindful Faith Ministries, we are passionate about embracing mental health with grace and understanding. If you're looking for resources to support your mental wellness journey, or want to learn how to better address these issues in your community, we're here to help. Check out our devotional series, workshops, speaking engagements, online courses, blog articles. They're all designed to integrate faith and mental health in practical, life-changing ways. Visit our website at mindfulfaithministries.com to learn more. And remember, you are never alone in this journey. Let's walk it together. Thanks for joining me today on Mindful Faith Moments. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Until next time, take care of your mind, your soul, and your faith.